Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and I wanted to talk to you about stepping into the unknown part 2. The reason why is because the unknown is a big thing, and I have more thoughts on it, and probably we'll talk about this more because it's probably one of the biggest things in your transition, right? Like the fear, stepping into the unknown, like what is that like? And I just wanted to sprinkle in a couple more tips in how to navigate the unknown and how to move into it and how to kind of like de-escalate it. So stepping into the unknown. How do you characterize stepping into the unknown? My feeling is like it's stepping into the blackness and there's just darkness and you don't know, and the fear of what could happen is all right there. And I think when you start stepping into the unknown, it can be really frightening because you have no idea what's going to happen. But as you start to do this more and more, you become better at figuring out how to move through the unknown. And the way that you figure out how to move through the unknown better is to know yourself and to be able to look within you and find that inner compass that can guide you. I call this the knowing. There is a part of you that just knows something on a much deeper level, and it's the part of you that knows you're a woman or knows that you're a man, and that you're trans. That part that's deeper within our being, and I find that knowing, it happens here in my heart. That knowing is ever present. It's infinite, and it knows stuff that you don't know. And so it gives you signals. This is the thing. This is the compass part. It gives you signals in what you should do and what feels right. I maybe I'll retract the what you should do part. It's what feels right. So why are you transitioning? Why are you beginning your transition? Why are you gender questioning? There's a part of you that knows that something's not right. And that knowing deep inside you is something that you're starting to listen to and starting to understand exists, but you may not have this tangibleness that you can attach to it. And so I want to kind of highlight this for you because it's super important, is to develop your connection with your own internal sense of knowing, the part of you that inherently knows more than what you can think. The conscious mind can only work with the tools and materials that it has to work with. It can only explain things to you in terms of concepts that you are already familiar with. It can only use words that you already know. But the knowing can communicate to you. It's just hard for it to communicate to you sometimes because in our minds, we don't have a way of consciously connecting the dots with what we're feeling. And so this feeling, this deeper feeling, can speak in ways that doesn't use mental language. It doesn't use words. It doesn't use the same kind of thought. It really is a feeling. I'll give you an example. After I realized I was a woman, I realized that there was a deeper knowing within me that just knew I was a woman. And that realization was so powerful and so strong that it became sort of the same fundamental root of my own perception of my own existence. If I say to you, how do you know that you exist? In that moment where you look, when you look inside you to say, do I exist? Where do I exist? Who am I? If you ask yourself that question and you give yourself a moment to live in that question and wonder, you will find within you something that says, nope, I know this and this is what I know. And that is the part of your knowing that you want to hone and get more into. So for me, after I realized I was a woman, I said, hey, is there other knowing stuff that I can just tap into? Let me just tap into that. So that I'll meditate for a little bit. And then I said, okay, knowing, what do you got for me? Tell me something else. And the thing that came up was it said Portland. And I was like, what? Portland? Why this? I was living in San Francisco. And I couldn't explain it. I had no idea. I had no reason to think about Portland, but the feeling was Portland and move there as soon as possible. You have to get going. And I thought about this for days, being like, well, maybe Portland symbolizes something, or like Portland's like this idea. But after a while, I just couldn't get around the fact that it was just, I got to go to Portland. So I quit my job. I packed my bags. I like crammed my room into a U-Haul, drove up to Portland, and the first person I stayed with ended up being my life coach and has transformed my life and is now the person that is coaching me through doing these videos and has taught me how to speak and do this, and is also helping me work through finishing the Embracing Yourself program, which you can get on my website, ashleyxadamson.com, and you can sign up on the email list if it's not out already. And so that was basically the reason why I needed to go to Portland. I needed to meet this person who would transform my life, and then I would leave and move to Berlin. Who would have thought? The knowing does things, and it knows things about you that you don't even know consciously. So to kind of like, how do we get in touch with this? How do we like get in touch with this knowing? Because if you're trying to figure out if you're transgender, getting in touch with the knowing is really going to help. If you're trying to figure out what to do as you step into the unknown, getting in touch with the knowing is going to help, because it is like this compass that takes you in the right direction of where you need to go. I perceive time in this way where there's a future and there's a present, and the future can exist and has already existed. And so when you're tapping into your knowing, you're tapping into the thread of your own awareness that can see and feel the future that's about to happen, because you're tapping into your future self that already is experiencing that and is tapping into the past version of yourself. I know that sounds like a bit like, whoa, but check it out. Like, you know, what is intuition? Like, how do you know these things that just happen? I can graph it for you, and maybe I should in another video. But to get in touch with your knowing, I think like to get in touch with your knowing, you just need to sit and like quiet the mind, listen to the body, connect with like what's going on, what's coming up, see if you can kind of just allow yourself to not get attached to all of these things that your mind is starting to be busy for, and then just say, hey, say it to yourself. So I'll be like, hey, Ashley, I know you know things. Tell me what I need to know. Tell me what I need to know right now. And then open yourself. Open yourself to receiving information that is not necessarily what you want to imagine, or not necessarily what you want, but just to receive information. And allow it to come through in a way where you're not saying, oh, well, it's just my imagination. Just suspend your disbelief and your skepticism for a second, and just let this information come through and see what happens. It may have nothing to do with your transition, or it may. So there's that version. And then there's another version, which might be a little bit easier, I'm thinking, which is to use your imagination, actually, to imagine yourself in a beautiful place. I tend to put myself on a beach, and then imagine yourself opening a door to your knowing. And then when the door opens, see what comes through, and then ask it to give you a gift or to tell you something. And it will give you something that will represent something deeper for you. I like that one better. You should do that one. And see what it says. And if you get something out of this, please write in the comments below. I'd love to see what you discover and uncover. So yeah, that's it for today. And please support me on my Patreon. I'm going to be giving some guided mindfulness workshops at the end of the month, and I'd love for more people to join. And if you just want to support me, there's also other tiers where you can join my chat and stuff like that. Thanks for sticking through this really odd topic for me today, and lots of love. I'll see you again soon. Bye.